Here's something that might surprise you. When a woman shares her problems with you, it doesn't mean she's looking for solutions. Most men automatically assume that if a woman talks about what's going on in her life, she wants advice, a plan, or a fix. But that's rarely the case. In reality, when she opens up, she's showing you something far more important: trust, vulnerability, and connection. And if you misread it, it can completely change how she sees you. Think about it for a second. Telling someone your problems is risky. It's exposing a part of yourself that isn't polished, controlled, or perfect. Most women don't do this casually. When she lets you in, she's saying, "I trust you enough to be raw and honest." That's powerful. But here's the catch. Many men fail to see it this way. They jump straight into problem-solving mode, giving advice she didn't ask for, or they start judging her reactions, feelings, or choices. And suddenly, that trust feels violated. Not because you meant harm, but because you didn't fully understand what she was communicating. This is what we're breaking down in today's video. We're going to talk about what it really means when a woman shares her problems, how to respond in a way that strengthens her trust in you rather than making her feel dismissed or unheard. We'll explore why she chooses you, how emotions and connection play into her decision to confide, and how your reaction can either deepen intimacy or create distance. So, if you've ever felt confused or frustrated when a woman unloads on you, wondering whether to fix it, ignore it, or just listen, this video is for you. Stick around, because by the end, you'll understand the hidden dynamics behind her words, and more importantly, how to respond in a way that builds respect, attraction, and trust. Welcome to the channel, guys. Let's dive in and decode what it really means when she shares her problems. Because understanding this could change everything about how you communicate with women. 1. She trusts you more than you think. When a woman opens up about her problems, the first thing you need to understand is that she's trusting you. Most men underestimate what this really means. Sharing problems isn't casual small talk. It's a glimpse into her inner world, a part of her that she doesn't share with just anyone. She's essentially saying, "I feel safe enough with you to be real." That's a big deal. Picture this. She had a rough day at work. Her boss criticized her unfairly, and she's stressed about finances. She tells you everything, venting and expressing frustration. For her, this isn't just about the work issue or the money problem. It's about showing vulnerability and seeing how you handle it. If you respond with judgment, impatience, or a quick fix mentality, she'll feel misunderstood and may shut down next time. But if you simply listen, acknowledge her feelings, and validate her experience, you're sending a message. I'm here. I see you. I value your honesty. That trust instantly deepens the connection between you two. Here's the key. Trust isn't about how often she shares her problems. It's about who she chooses to share them with and how you respond. Every time she opens up, she's giving you an invisible vote of confidence. She's showing that she believes you're someone who can handle her raw emotions without running away, mocking her, or trying to control the conversation. And trust me, women remember this. Your reactions now set the tone for how much more she's willing to reveal in the future. It's also worth noting that trust and vulnerability go hand in hand. The more she senses that you're capable of handling her honesty without judgment, the more likely she is to rely on you for emotional support. This doesn't mean you need to solve her problems. In fact, often she doesn't want solutions. She wants someone who can hold space for her feelings, someone who makes her feel understood. 2. It's about connection, not solutions. One of the biggest mistakes men make when a woman shares her problems is assuming she wants a solution. Most men hear an issue and instantly go into problem-solving mode, offering advice, strategies, or fixes. But here's the truth. She rarely wants that. When she talks, she's looking for connection, understanding, and emotional support, not a step-by-step plan. Women often share problems as a way to feel seen and heard. It's about expressing emotions and processing experiences, not creating tasks for you to complete. She wants to feel like you're present with her in that moment, listening without judgment or interruption. Your response communicates more than any advice ever could. It shows whether you can be emotionally present and supportive, which is a core component of attraction and trust. Another thing to keep in mind is that offering unsolicited solutions can backfire. Even if your advice is practical or well-intentioned, it can come across as dismissive or patronizing. She might interpret it as, "You don't really care about how I feel, you just want to fix it." And that can push her away emotionally, even if your goal was to help. Listening and validating, on the other hand, shows empathy and strengthens your bond. This doesn't mean you should never give advice. There's a time and place, usually when she explicitly asks for it. But for the most part, your role is to provide a safe space where she can express herself freely. You can do this by asking open-ended questions, acknowledging her emotions, and resisting the urge to immediately jump in with a solution. Statements like, "I hear you," or "That sounds frustrating," go a long way in showing support. The key takeaway for men is simple. The act of sharing problems is a gift, not a call to action. She's inviting you into her emotional world. How you respond determines whether she feels closer to you or more distant. Presence, patience, and genuine listening are far more valuable than any advice you could give. Understanding this dynamic will change how you approach conversations when she shares challenges. It will make your interactions smoother, your connection stronger, and your presence more appreciated. All without saying a single word of advice, unless she actually asks for it. 3. She's testing your emotional strength. When a woman shares her problems with you, she's not just opening up, she's also gauging your emotional strength. Women instinctively test whether a man can handle their vulnerability without cracking under pressure, judging them, or withdrawing. Your reaction in these moments reveals a lot about your character and how reliable you are as a partner or confidant. Emotional strength doesn't mean being stoic or unfeeling. It means staying calm, composed, and present, even when the issues she shares are messy, complicated, or emotionally heavy. If you panic, dismiss her feelings, or react defensively, it signals that you might not be equipped to handle real emotional intimacy. On the other hand, if you listen, validate, and maintain composure, you communicate reliability, stability, and maturity, qualities that are highly attractive. It's also important to understand that emotional strength isn't about having all the answers. You don't need to solve her problems or fix her life. What matters is your ability to handle what she's sharing without turning it into your own stress or judgment. When you can do this, she feels safe. She can trust that you won't run away or make her feel weak for being honest. Many men underestimate how much women pay attention to these subtle cues. Your body language, tone of voice, and choice of words all convey how capable you are of supporting her emotionally. Staying grounded doesn't mean being detached. It means being steady in the midst of emotional turbulence, allowing her to express herself while showing that you're strong enough to be her anchor. Finally, remember that her testing isn't malicious. It's instinctive. Women naturally want to know that the men they invest in can handle depth, vulnerability, and real-life pressures. The better you get at responding calmly, empathetically, and confidently, the more you prove your emotional strength. Over time, she'll feel more connected, more secure, and more attracted, simply because you can hold space for her without losing your own balance. 4. Vulnerability is her way of measuring you. When a woman shares her problems with you, she's doing more than venting. She's subtly measuring your character. Vulnerability is a window into her inner world, and by letting you in, she's observing how you respond. How you handle her honesty tells her whether you're trustworthy, reliable, and emotionally mature. Women are wired to test compatibility through emotional cues. If you respond with patience, empathy, and attentiveness, you signal that you can handle depth and complexity. That doesn't mean agreeing with everything she says or always playing the role of a counselor. It simply means showing respect for her feelings, validating her experiences, and maintaining a calm, grounded presence. Here's something most men don't realize. She's not just measuring how well you listen. She's measuring how you don't react. The ability to stay steady, even when emotions run high, speaks volumes. It shows her that you're a man who can handle honesty, conflict, and emotion without letting it destabilize you. This builds confidence, trust, and attraction, qualities that are far more valuable than any advice or solution you might offer. Another important point is that vulnerability isn't about weakness. When she opens up, she's showing strength by trusting you. Recognize that and don't treat it lightly. If you dismiss, minimize, or judge her, it communicates that you can't handle authenticity, which creates distance rather than closeness. Conversely, when you receive her vulnerability with calm and attention, it strengthens your bond and positions you as someone she can rely on. Lastly, understand that her willingness to share is selective. She won't expose this side of herself to everyone. By choosing to confide in you, she's testing whether you're worth her emotional investment. How you respond in these moments sets the tone for future honesty and depth in your relationship. In short, vulnerability is her way of measuring your worth. How you handle it determines whether you're someone she feels safe opening up to, or someone she keeps at a distance. Men who recognize this subtle dynamic and respond with steadiness, respect, and empathy gain not just her trust, but her genuine connection and attraction. 5. Your response shapes attraction. How you respond when a woman shares her problems can either pull her closer or push her away. Your reaction is more important than the content of her story. She's not necessarily looking for advice, but she is paying close attention to how you make her feel when she opens up. Your words, tone, and body language all communicate whether you're someone who can be counted on emotionally. Picture this. She's had a stressful day at work and tells you about a conflict with a colleague. If you respond by immediately offering solutions or telling her how she could have handled it differently, she might feel unheard or dismissed. That doesn't mean your advice is bad. It just isn't what she's looking for in that moment. On the other hand, if you listen attentively, nod, acknowledge her frustration, and maybe say something like, "That sounds really tough, I can see why you're upset," you instantly create emotional safety. That simple act strengthens attraction because it shows empathy, patience, and respect for her feelings. Your response also communicates stability. Women instinctively look for men who can handle emotional intensity without overreacting. If you remain calm and composed, even when she's expressing frustration, disappointment, or sadness, you demonstrate emotional strength. That strength is attractive because it tells her she can be herself around you without fear of judgment or unnecessary conflict. It's also worth noting that your responses set the tone for future conversations. If you habitually listen and validate, she'll be more likely to confide in you again. Conversely, if your responses are dismissive, critical, or solution-focused when it's not wanted, she may start holding back. Over time, this can erode connection and trust, even if you have the best intentions. The takeaway here is simple. Focus on how you respond, not just what you say. Listening, validating, and staying grounded shows her that you're dependable, emotionally mature, and someone worth opening up to. The more consistent you are in these responses, the stronger the connection becomes, and the deeper the attraction grows, all without you needing to fix anything. 6. Some problems are just for sharing. One of the most important things to understand is that not every problem a woman shares requires a solution. In fact, most of the time, she isn't asking for one at all. She simply wants to express herself and feel heard. Understanding this is key to maintaining connection and respect. Women often share problems to process emotions, vent frustrations, or gain perspective, not because they want instructions or fixes. If you jump in with advice too quickly, it can feel dismissive, as though you're saying, "I don't need to hear your feelings, I just want to solve your problems." That can create subtle tension, even if you have good intentions. Listening, acknowledging, and validating, on the other hand, shows that you value her thoughts and feelings. And that is far more meaningful than any solution you might offer. It's also worth noting that women often share problems as a way to feel closer to someone. By opening up, she's creating intimacy. Your role is to match that openness with presence, attentiveness, and understanding. You don't need to give advice, you just need to be emotionally available. Statements like, "I get it, that must be frustrating," or simply nodding while she talks, go a long way in building trust and emotional safety. Another important point is that sharing problems is often a way to test emotional compatibility. She wants to know if you can handle real-life stress without judgment, if you can stay calm, and if you can offer empathy without taking over. Your ability to simply listen and be present signals that you can handle depth, honesty, and complexity, traits that are highly attractive and rare. Remember, the act of sharing doesn't make her weak, it makes her human. And your ability to respond appropriately demonstrates maturity and emotional intelligence. The better you understand that not every problem needs a solution, the more comfortable she will feel confiding in you. This builds a foundation for trust, respect, and deeper connection. 7. Men who listen win respect. Now, let's talk directly to men. If a woman shares her problems with you, your reaction can either build respect or erode it. Too often, men misunderstand the purpose behind her honesty and respond in ways that hurt connection, even unintentionally. This is where many of us need a wake-up call. First, understand that listening is a skill, and it's one that many men never fully develop. Listening isn't about zoning out, waiting for your turn to speak, or jumping in with advice. It's about giving her your full attention, acknowledging her emotions, and showing that you can handle the honesty without judgment. If you do this consistently, she begins to see you as someone reliable, strong, and emotionally intelligent. A man who can handle depth and vulnerability. Here's a subtle point. Many men fear emotional intensity because it makes them uncomfortable. When a woman vents, complains, or expresses frustration, it can trigger anxiety or impatience. But the truth is, discomfort doesn't mean weakness. It means opportunity. Your ability to stay grounded while she expresses herself teaches her that you're not easily shaken. It shows strength and creates attraction because she knows she can be authentic around you without fear of criticism or abandonment. Another point to reflect on. Sometimes men misread these conversations as tests or drama. They think, "Why is she bringing me all these problems?" The reality is, she's giving you a chance to demonstrate reliability and emotional maturity. If you respond poorly, dismiss, argue, or try to fix everything, you risk losing respect and closeness. But if you listen and engage thoughtfully, you earn trust and deepen the connection. Here's the constructive criticism. Many men need to step up and embrace discomfort. Stop avoiding emotional conversations. Stop thinking you always need to provide solutions. And stop treating her honesty like a burden. When you take these conversations seriously and respond with calm, empathy, and presence, you not only gain respect, but you also set the stage for a relationship built on genuine understanding. Here's a truth that might challenge you. When a woman shares her problems, it's never just about the problems themselves. It's about how you handle them. Your response reveals more about your character than hers. Listening, validating, and staying present shows strength, maturity, and reliability. Ignoring, judging, or rushing to fix things, on the other hand, signals immaturity and a lack of emotional awareness. The reality is, most men get this wrong. We think our value lies in solving problems or giving advice, but in truth, our value lies in how we respond emotionally. Women share because they trust, they seek connection, and they want to see if you can handle vulnerability without losing composure. How you react will either deepen that trust or create distance, and often the difference is subtle but powerful. So here's the challenge for you. Step up. Stop thinking you always need to fix everything. Listen more. Validate feelings. Stay calm. Show that you can handle honesty and vulnerability without being shaken. When you do this, you don't just earn respect. You increase attraction, strengthen connection, and position yourself as a man worth confiding in. I want to hear from you. Share your experiences in the comments. How did you respond the last time a woman opened up to you? What worked and what didn't? I'll engage with your stories because learning from real experiences is the fastest way to improve. Remember, women don't just share their problems with anyone. If she's sharing with you, it's a sign of trust and opportunity. How you respond will determine whether that trust grows into genuine connection or fades into frustration. Handle it wisely.